Warrior Nun. I really like the tagline. What's that say? Deliver us.
Finish it! Finish it!
Evil!
What is up, Netflix fans? Welcome back to my channel. New show dropped today. It is called Warrior Nun. I need you in the comments down below. Are you familiar with the comics that this is based off of? Were you excited for this show? Are you a warrior nun? Probably not. All right, let's get into it. So after waking up in a morgue, an orphan teen discovers that she now possesses superpowers as the chosen halo bearer for a secret sect of demon-hunting nuns. Alba Baptista plays Ava, who is our title character here, and wow, I didn't know what to think about this show because I am unfamiliar with the comics. I knew Netflix was going to do something interesting with this, or at least I hoped they would. How did it fare? So, to be flat honest with you, this is a show that got off to an extremely slow start. They tried to focus a bit too much on what I was kind of fearing they would do, and that is the angsty teen type of show, and not necessarily the fact that Ava is that kind of character, but it does give us that impression in the first couple of episodes before it gets a chance to delve into the somewhat interesting lore, before it gets a chance to showcase us some action scenes, which I actually thought, for the budget, what they were going for, to be honest with you, there were a few moments where it's like, well, the budget clearly wasn't the highest because of some of the CGI, but you compare it to, say, a show on CW, it feels about like that, both in tone, even though it gets a bit darker, and the look and the style of the show. But I do believe this is a show that knows exactly who its audience is going to be. Think Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and you take that formula and kind of how that show is crafted, you lend it to this source material with interesting lore that we finally start diving into in the latter half of the season. And at the end of the day, you've got a show that's fairly entertaining, pretty fun, if it can get past some of the lackluster dialogue, and that was another issue that I had. It's like, they're having these conversations, and there's also a method used. There's an internal monologue going on all throughout the show. It's Ava kind of telling herself, okay, what's going on here? How are we going to solve this problem? And it's used as both exposition for the audience and just kind of a voiceover to narrate the entire series. And while I think a lot of people are going to like that, I thought it was a bit much at times. I said to myself, I could probably figure out what's going on. It's not too difficult to understand. But there are a lot of elements at play here, so I can understand why they chose to go that route. Because like I said, there's more than just our character of Ava, and honestly, when we start exploring the other nuns and kind of this warrior force, if you will, that was almost as interesting as our main character, and exploring their different powers and what they could do individually with guns and swords, and every character has their different power set, if you will. I thought that was pretty cool. And then this organization, what they're trying to do, fight off these demons, and as you explore that, and who comes into play later, and the villainous characters of sorts, that was interesting as well. So when they're focusing on the relationships with Ava, she's coming out of a difficult situation. I'm not going to spoil what that is specifically, but she finally has the ability to not only do what she can do with her power set, but in her words, and you know this if you're watching the show, do what she's always wanted to do, have the ability to go out and kind of see the world for herself. So as this organization is like, hey, we need you to do this thing, because you're kind of important to what we're doing here. She says, no, I want to explore the world and travel and do my own thing. And it's that struggle to get her to kind of realize what she has to do, what she's destined to do, and that is be the ultimate warrior nun. Yeah. And I come back to something I've mentioned 5 times, and that's the lore and how they establish that with the halo, and comparing it to something like Avatar, a very different show, obviously, but how it's kind of passed down from generation to generation, and for some reason, it chose her. She is, in a way, a chosen one, and everyone keeps asking themselves, okay, why her? It had to happen, fill in the blank here, but then we start to discover, okay, maybe she does kind of have this in her to be something more than just Ava, girl with superpowers. Oh, cool, let's go find a relationship. And every audience member, as always, is going to be different. They're going to respond to a certain aspect of the show, whether it is the relationships between her and other characters, one boy specifically that takes up a large chunk of the first half of the season, or her calling to be this warrior nun with the action scenes that were very well done, like I said, and exploring the ins and outs of this world and trying to catch us up to what we should know before we go on this journey with her. So there are a lot of elements at play, and like I said, the first couple, 3-4 episodes at least, took a while to get to the point. Maybe it's because there are just a lot of throwaway conversations and interactions in this season, and that's one thing I'm looking forward to season 2. It's like, can we just trim the fat just a little bit, get more to the point, and allow what you did really well in Season 1 to kind of take over in Season 2 and make that the focus in the forefront of the show. Because if that would have been the focus in this season, I think I would have responded much more. I still think it's worth watching, and I still think it's better than some of these other shows in the same vein on Netflix. And the audience is going to be there, so I need you in the comments down below. Did you respond to Warrior Nun? Would you like to see me talk spoilers specifically about this show? Let me know all of those things. And if you enjoy these Netflix reviews, I'm talking Netflix every single week and weekend. Be sure to smash that thumbs up button. As for my score, I'm going a solid positive score, a 6 out of 10, a 60% for Warrior Nun. I think it did a lot of things right, and I think it showed us the building blocks of what could be a great series down the line, but again, there were just a few too many conversations in there that were a bit cringeworthy. Some of the dialogue, it needs to step it up in the next couple of seasons, but a lot of stuff there to make for a good show in the future. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Like I said, if you enjoyed it, let me know. Leave your comments, and are you a warrior nun? All right, I'm going to sleep now.